Today I'm going to introduce you to Moma Rosa, Angela Rosa Zelaya. She was born in Latin America at a time when men were considered superior to women and sons were considered superior to daughters. She married a true believer. The house they lived in had a large room, which they decided to use as a variety store. The husband was a mailman, so his income was not huge, and any income from the variety store was welcome. Mamacita, the grandmother, was head of the house. The daughter, Elba, was in charge of everything. Moma Rosa was the salesperson and took care of day-to-day operations of the variety store. If you looked at the whole situation, you might say she was the bottom rung of the family ladder. She also provided sexual needs. Whenever her husband went out with the boys, he would come home and demand his sexual rights. Of course, that meant sex, and it must have been a lot of fun. They had 4 children. The first was Herbert, a boy. 2 years later, Sylvia came along, who later on became my wife. And then at 2-year intervals, Martha was born, and then Mercedes, known as Mircha. Herbert felt that he was superior to all of his sisters, and he could do or say anything he wanted with them. They lived in an area which was very nice, just off the plaza of Managua, which was the capital of Nicaragua. If you were to look out the window to your left, out the window in the front of the house, you would be seeing the cathedral in front and to the left. If you look behind me on the wall, you'll see a photograph, I think it's a photograph of the cathedral. And if you'll take note, picture of the cathedral, you will see there are buildings across the street. Their home was in that building, so they were right there. Anyhow, if you looked at the front of their house, as you can see, to the left was the cathedral. Directly across the plaza was a very large building which housed all the business and offices. On the right side of the plaza was another huge building which housed all the military and police offices. If you were to walk out their front door and walk down the street to your right, you would come to an area called El Malecón, which means the beach area. Over time, Moma Rosa became unhappy with her situation, and she decided she had to improve her life. Without anyone being aware, she was able to accumulate enough money to buy passage to San Francisco, California. When she got to San Francisco, she immediately went to the home of Mercedes Fajardo, otherwise known as Nia Mircha. Nia Mircha opened the door and said, "Rosa, what are you doing here?" And Moma Rosa said, "I need a job." You see, Nia Mircha was an old friend of hers in Nicaragua, and she knew that Nia Mircha had a very, very high-end women's dress shop. If you wanted the best, that's where you went, especially if you were looking for a wedding dress. You would go nowhere but to Nia Mircha. So anyhow, she went to work for Nia Mircha and gradually saved enough money that she was able to buy a home and bring her children shortly thereafter. I'm going to show you a Google photograph. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite show the house completely because there's a truck in front of it. However, if you look at the buildings around her home, you can see that it was a very, very nice neighborhood. It was not a rundown place. It was a very, very nice area to live in. Herbert was brought first, and he was sent to a Catholic high school. Sylvia and Martha came next. Sylvia had the equivalent of an AA degree in business, and in addition, she spoke very good English. She soon had a job at Bank of America, translating all the Spanish correspondence in and out. And she soon discovered that she could also translate incoming Italian correspondence. Unfortunately, she didn't quite know enough of the language to be able to create outgoing correspondence. Finally, Mircha came, the youngest sister. My introduction to her was that she looked down upon Sylvia and made her cry in less than 30 seconds. I told her that so long as Sylvia and I were married, she would treat Sylvia with respect. She couldn't understand this. She had always treated Sylvia that way. As you can see, the environment in Nicaragua was not conducive to raising strong, independent women. Moma Rosa was able to overcome this. Sylvia agreed with her in every way. Martha could never quite understand everything. Mircha initially didn't care, but she came to agree with Moma Rosa and Sylvia. I admire Moma Rosa, her strength of character, and her desire to improve herself and her children. I think you will agree that she was a wonderful addition to the United States of America. Thank you.